Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Sports Plus podcast. It's the NHL All-Star Game episode. Going to talk about all things All-Star related leading into this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. I'm Corey Miller here with Andy Moeller, KSDK Sports Director Frank Cusimano. Let's get right into it. Tomorrow, Thursday, everything's kind of kicking into gear. The whole town seems to be excited. This was always a good hockey town. The Blues run has really increased the appetite. I think the entire city is really excited for this weekend. It's going to be a great show.
Well, I think it's the most interesting thing is you have the Fan Fest, and it's already sold. I just got this stat moments ago. Fan Fest has already sold 30,000 tickets. Fanfare, I should say. 30,000. The alumni game is, you can't get in. It's absolutely sold out. And when we know the All-Star game, you have to be like related to the Stillmans to get a ticket now. It's impossible. And celebrity sightings just got this too. We're going to see some interesting people here. We're going to see Wayne Gretzky, John Hamm, Jenna Fisher, Graham Rahal. Be nice.
There we go.
So we're rolling in all the St. Louis connected celebs.
Cool.
I wonder if they have to pay. I mean, John Hamm could buy the building, but does he have to actually pay for a ticket? Or?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
He'll be in somebody's box.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
Gretzky.
I'm pretty sure he knows somebody, so
I think that's a good bet.
they'll probably slip him a ticket.
So we'll get to some more of that hoopla here in a bit. But first, let's spotlight the actual Blues that are going to be playing as part of this weekend. Let's break them down a little bit because they're really going to be the ambassadors. You're going to see these guys a lot. Alex Pietrangelo first, the captain, leader in the middle of his best season. Big payday coming. Could kind of be his show. The captain of the All-Star game in your hometown. It's a big weekend for Pietrangelo.
I don't think there's any question about that. He has really elevated his game this season, and this is a pinnacle moment for him. All the eyes of hockey are going to be on St. Louis this weekend.
Hopefully, the triplets get some airtime as well. Hopefully, he brings them around.
Well, let's hope he gets them to have an availability.
Ryan O'Reilly too. This guy's just been on a hot streak for the last 12 months or so. Reigning Conn Smythe, Selke winner. One of the most genuine, best interviews in the league. The NHL loves him. They're using him in a lot of promotions. He's great in them. I think he's going to have something fun here for the skills challenge. I bet he'll do at least one of the passing
Yeah,
ones.
I wouldn't be surprised if he won one of them, and if he also had a chance to win the MVP, if this division could advance. With a heavy accent on skill, this is his third All-Star game. There'll be no nerves for him. We know he likes the big stage. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all if this guy comes away with some more hardware. It's his life. We're just living in it.
And is there a better skit than him and Chance the Rapper?
Oh, that's
from
great.
Earlier this year.
That is pretty good.
Him popping the tooth out. Classic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington, biggest star of the past 12 months. He had to be in this game, no matter what his stats really looked like. Obviously, he's taken a little bit of regression from his crazy 2019, which, you can't expect him to keep that up.
Not?
There's no reason he'd be able to keep that up. I think he's going to have a lot of fun these next couple days and show off that personality that we've all kind of come to love. He's definitely going to do that shootout, or I think it's called the save streak thing in the skills competition. I'm sure we'll see him there. I think he's going to have some fun with the fans.
What do you think? Imagine the scene. I sort of envision this All-Star media opportunity tomorrow as like the Super Bowl. So it's like Super Bowl Media Day or whatever. Can you imagine, the people are going to be, okay, are we going to have the little kid from Nickelodeon
I hope we get a lot of
him?
people who have never interacted with him before, because then we might get some interesting answers. Yeah. He should be fun. David Perron, 13th season in the NHL. First All-Star game, well-deserved, won the last-man-in vote for the Central, most points on the Blues, and this meant something to him. He said it on Twitter. He wanted his kids to see him play in an All-Star game. 3-time St. Louis Blue. The city loves him. I'm just really excited to see Perron play in this game.
Yeah, this is a Ryan Franklin, Ken Bottenfield. And it's probably only going to happen once, and it just so happened. Well, it's Franklin, relived, because Franklin pitched in his one All-Star game here at Busch Stadium. So, yeah, there's nobody that's going to feel better about it than David Perron on Saturday night to hear his name called.
And you get to see snippets, when he's off or when he's not in a game or whatever, really showing off the stick handling skills and puck handling ability. I hope he really gets to show off in one of the skills competitions because he could take something.
He and O'Reilly. could be unfair, honestly. Well, in the game, and then if they're in some kind of competition. So I wrote this rundown 3 or 4 hours ago, and I had Tkachuk and TJ Oshie as the coolest stories. But I have to amend this because now both Tkachuks are coming to St. Louis to play in the All-Star game, and this is just really cool. The whole family is stoked. It's an entire Tkachuk family reunion for the All-Star game in St. Louis. Frank, you were out at Chaminade with Matthew today. What did he have to say?
I think he has pretty good perspective because a lot of people think that Brady is the most talented, that Matthew is the best combination of grit and skill. And I said, well, who do you think is the best of you three? And he said, look, my dad scored 500 goals, so he's number one until proven, otherwise. So, yeah, it's incredible that he got the call this late with the Austin Matthews wrist injury. It's going to be a Tkachuk celebration. Can you imagine that family? They're going to have their two boys. They're going to be $100 million hockey players.
That's pretty cool.
Well, now on a sort of a tangent about that, you said that parents are making Matthew pay for the box.
Yes.
Is that right?
Well, he offered to pay for it, but he got kicked out of his house too.
Right. Well, tell me this: how long do you think it'll be before Matthew finds out about Brady making the game and strong arms him into going 50-50? Yeah.
That was funny though. All grandparents and everybody coming into the house, so Matthew is staying at the hotel.
At least Robert Thomas is probably on some southern. Probably in Mexico or Florida. Yeah. So there's an extra bedroom there at the Tkachuks.
I'm excited to see TJ Oshie as well. I mean, just in my lifetime, he's one of the most popular athletes this town has ever seen. Everybody just goes crazy for him. And it meant something to him, too, to come back here and play in St. Louis. He said that in an interview with the NHL Network, that he really wanted to play in this game because it was in St. Louis. He's in the midst of a great season, so Oshie coming back should be pretty fun as well.
In the breakdown of the male-female vote, how do you think that percentage is going to
I think Oshie got a significant bump from the female population in St. Louis to win that last man in vote.
There are people that know nothing about TJ Oshie who voted for TJ Oshie just because of the way he looks.
All right, so let's run down some things that are coming up in the next couple of days because we're going to have a lot of great content coming. We'll talk to everybody from Wayne Gretzky to our friend Cam Jansen tomorrow night, who's playing in the alumni game. We'll get the press availability that we talked about. Jordan Binnington should have some good quotes. Frank gave the stats on the fanfare. The alumni game should be fun. I mean, the alumni base for the Blues is unlike pretty much every alumni base in the country. It's very strong, and these guys keep in touch and like to play in these kind of games. So that should be really fun out there.
I mean, there is no better alumni association. I'd be willing to bet in any sport than the Blues alumni.
I mean, they have their own lockers with their own names on it at Centene, and nobody has that. And they get a really strong group out there all the time, and they do it really early in the morning. While you're eating your Pop-Tarts, these guys are playing hockey, Corey.
I'm more of a cereal guy, Frank.
Okay.
And they can't walk past the Kelly Chase Credo without paying attention to it, right?
Who's I don't remember the exact roster, but if you guys remember anybody that's playing this, who's your pick
Rhett
for?
Berenson is.
Who's your pick for MVP?
I wouldn't be surprised if Cam plays great.
Really?
He's in incredible skate. He's always in incredible shape, and he's always been a great skater. And we shot him about 2 weeks ago, and he scored a couple of goals in that one. So
I'd like to see him at least like fake drop the gloves with somebody. That'd be fun to see too.
I think it's going to be remarkable to see 80-year-old Red Berenson out there. They asked him, do you want to come? And he said, well, I'd like to play.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that?
Is he still coaching for Michigan?
No, he stepped down about 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
I'm sure he still skates all the time. That should be fun. Pierre Turgeon, I don't think, is playing in this one, but during the actual one at the Winter Classic, that guy looked like he was still in the league.
Oh, my goodness.
It was insane.
He was the best player on the ice. And, Brett is not going to skate, and Gretzky's just going to drop the puck. And I know a lot of people were really disappointed in that, but then when you saw the way those two performed at the Winter Classic, maybe you think, you know what, our lasting memory should not be of that,
Which is probably the same with Turgeon. I mean, how can you do better than the way he played in the Winter Classic?
Go out on top. We kind of talked about this yet. I don't know exactly when they're going to release who's competing in any of these skills events on Friday night, but I'm thinking Binnington's got to do the save streak. Brown and O'Reilly have to be one of the passing challenges. I'd like to see Pietrangelo take a stab at the hardest shot. I don't think he'd win, But if he was going to be in any of the contests, I think that'd be the one he gets into.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Andy in the sports office. Now that both Kachucks are here, they have to face off in the fastest skater. That has to happen.
Match race.
That would be a lot of fun. I think out of all three of those, Keith would finish last, even in his prime. Don't you think?
Well, he did most of his damage in front of the net, but he was one heck of a player.
For sure.
Was.
Okay, All-Star Game Saturday. I don't know if we talked about this on here, but does everybody like the 3-on-3 kind of matchup? Because just me personally, I didn't really watch the NHL All-Star Game that much as it's been going along, but I watch it more now in this format than I did when it used to be the way it did, because it didn't seem like anybody was that interested. Now there's at least some more excitement, I think.
Well, I think the time that Mario had about 8 or 9 points, and Al McInnes said he was like a -8. He says every time I got on the ice, Mario got on the ice, and he scored on me. That was the great Gretzky against Lemieux matchup. I'm not sure of the year, 87.
Well, the game here was 88.
But was that the one here that
Mario had the game-winning goal, and I think 3 goals and 3 assists. Yeah.
That's pretty good. And then, when I think of All-Star Weekend, though, I think of Al McInnes and winning 7 consecutive or 7 total hardest shot competitions.
No question about it. That was the thing I looked forward to the most was watching to see if Al would win the hardest shot competition.
Hopefully he gets some kind of cameo out there during it. I don't know. He seems like he does it. He might not want the recognition, but I'll tell you this. I wish
I bet somehow they're going to introduce our Hall of Famers. You have to do something like that, and the Blues are so good at that.
I'd like to see sometime eventually Colton Parayko get a shot at the hardest shot competition sometime during his career, because I think he'd win. Right. How cool, here's something else we want to talk about. How cool would the All Blues lineup be? Because you know what's going to happen. Berube behind the bench, O'Reilly, Pietrangelo, and Perron out there with Binnington in the net. It's just kind of the capper on a crazy 12 months, and the place is going to go absolutely nuts. I think that's going to be my favorite part of the whole weekend.
And he's going to do it. He'll probably do it he could do it to start the game, but it's happening for sure.
And if they would happen to score, the place will be up for grabs. There's just no question.
It'd almost be Stanley Cup-ish. That happens.
I think it will.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to work in here. Some memories of past All-Star games in St. Louis. Andy, I know you've been working hard on the Blues All-Star memories every Monday leading up to this. Just what sticks out maybe about the 2 previous NHL All-Star games here in St. Louis that you really remember?
Well, certainly, there's no more dramatic moment than the game in '88 when Barclay Plager, who was supposed to have been one of the honorary captains, passed away 3 days before the game, and so I just looked at the pregame ceremony again today, ESPN's coverage of it, and they brought out Bob, of course, who was one of the honorary captains as well. Al Arbor was the honorary captain for the Wales conference, but then they brought out Barclay's 2 sons, and Rob Ramage and Wayne Gretzky brought out jerseys, sweaters, hockey parlance. Gretzky brought out one for Bob Plager, and then Rob Ramage brought a sweater over for the 2 Plager boys. And moment of silence, and it was just.
Yeah.
Then they had to play the game, but Mario then had the 3 goals and 3 assists, including the game winner in overtime.
Is it Mario or Mario?
Yes.
You'd think we could get this straight. He's only the 3rd greatest hockey player.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Last thing here, St. Louis's just ability to host a big event. It seems like just one after another, we're getting these huge sports events in our town, whether it's the Winter Classic, PGA Championship, Stanley Cup, the Gymnastics Championships coming up here, the All-Star Game. Just how impressive is it that everything just seems to be a hit? To people that grew up here and live here, it's not that big of a surprise. We know how great of a sports town it is. But I think St. Louis is really establishing a footprint as a city that can host big events like this.
Well, yeah, I think Frank Viverito, the Missouri Valley Conference, St. Louis University, the Blues, the Cardinals, they're all come together as one. There's not that petty feuding that they have in other markets. Everybody's on the same team.
I just think it's a complete everybody's involved, because not only is the leadership great for getting the events here and presenting the events, but then you have to have the fans actually turn out for it, which they do in droves. And, kudos to everybody.
For sure. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this special All-Star episode of the Sports Plus podcast. Enjoy all the events coming up this entire weekend. We'll be bringing you the best coverage on Channel 5, KSDK.com, all of our social platforms. Be sure to follow along and make sure you download, subscribe, and rate and review this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.